Have we finally hit the era of Konami printing more cards from the former video games? So make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So we just got, fairly recently, a Cosmo Queen retrain. Based on her effect from the old video game that basically allows her to convert terrain around her to a different field spell. Huh. Was that Duelist of the Roses, if I recall? Okay, that's interesting. We got the Talons of, was it Shangri-La? I can never remember the name of it out here. A lot of these illusion monsters that we've been starting to see populate out here have all been former video game cards. You know, and I think it's really cool. And the biggest thing that kind of sparked all of this was Exodia with Infinite Forbidden was Simon's cards. Now, they interacted more of a feel that like Simon kind of had back in the original video games with, you know, Exodia. This all goes back to like Duelist of the Roses, Forbidden Memories talks out here with some of the crazy value in things that we actually had out there. Now, other things that have had reprints out here or retrains. Sengenjin for the Exodia archetype. We had Skull Guardian with Novox. I don't know if you remember Skull Guardian and Novox, but the fact that those two cards were all the way back in Tournament Pack 2 for us. All right, and they, you know, created this archetype to bring these cards back was absolutely amazing. Trihorn Dragon and the Memento Squad. Memento definitely got slept on by a lot of this. It was really cool that they took this former archetype and they said, hey, you know, we're going to bring this up to speed and give you the chance to have some very cool stuff. But it didn't really feel cool. I don't know why, but there was that. We had the Cosmo Queen retrain, and then we had the Mikazuki no Yaiba retrains, which means we're missing probably Serpent Dragon, Skull Guardian, or at least, you know, another Black Skull Dragon retrain, or Chakra. And that would be, that means more illusion monsters and things out here as well. And one of the coolest things that we're kind of expecting out here is, do you remember the original boss monster? It's the little thumbnail that was pictured up here, by the way. The boss monster from, what was it? Forbidden Memories. Kind of checks all of these marks to be the big villain for the 25th anniversary. The fact that one of the big things for the 25th anniversary has been, you know, digging back into the roots of the game and going back to more of that style of older cards. Because, you know, let's call it what it is. Yu-Gi-Oh! In modern times definitely feels like it's lost a lot of its roots. And I know it's one big thing, but you've seen the memes, like it's back. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day, it's like, you know, you got things like Newdoria, Juragado, you know, these millennium-looking crazy creatures. And then you fast forward to the modern era, and it's a lot more waifu-based. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you've got to understand that, like, cultural influence has changed. This game's been around for 25 years, all right? You got to remember, waifus sell, all right? And I know to the people that are like, oh, you know, like, this is so bad, I can't believe we're getting the 19th waifu, like, Konami, what are you doing? And it's like, they're catering to their audience. They know what people want to spend their money on. So the fact that, you know, we're deep diving back into the era of these old video games, and the fact that, you know, we have the illusion archetype now being present, which I think is one of the coolest things that Konami has actually done, was we deep dived back in there, we pulled out the illusion archetype. Now the problem is, and I think this is a pretty valid complaint right now, the illusion archetype has been a pretty slow grind. Alright, now, to be fair, when Cyverse first initially came out, it was a pretty slow grind as well. To be honest with you, we did have things like Firewall Dragon and, you know, Boral Sword, Borolo, and those particular monsters, and I believe at this point we're only, 4 sets in, technically, heading on into 5 for the illusion archetype to actually, or the illusion typing to actually have support. So I do continue to expect that as each of these sets goes on, we'll continue to build onto this, and we'll start to see more and more of this kind of come to fruition. But this comes back to my friend's working theory here, though. As we continue to build on the 25 years of the game here, and we continue to pull more and more of these retrains out of the former video games and accessing this stuff, you could actually see, the big bad boss monster from Forbidden Memories actually being an actual retrained card. Now, my main concerns here are, it's probably going to be an illusion monster. I mean, who wouldn't expect that? The fact that they would choose to go down the video game route and pay homage to that instead of going down and, giving Zork, for example, its card. Like, I understand that we don't have Kazuki to quite possibly make Zork into a reality. So going down the video game route out here and going, hey, this is the section of Yu-Gi-Oh! That's been neglected for the last... Can we say it's been neglected for like the last 20 years? Because it definitely was the first 5 years, those games had very cool, fantastic lore and things, but as the game gradually evolved away from that, all of that original source material that was available in that era has just kind of felt like it's been lost. So the fact that Konami is dug back into the video games here, and they're pulling all of this out, also kind of backs up the future theory here of what's coming with, the animation studio and the telling of the card stories, all right? Remember, Konami Animation does in fact exist, all right? We have not forgotten about that. So if Konami's using the 25th anniversary here to basically pay homage to the former video games, to continue to honor the illusion archetype and do these power-ups, that means heading on into the 30th anniversary here, we can be ready to have access to, our own original stories, telling the stories of Sky Strikers, these Magistus, all of these other meta contenders out here, and then we can continue to celebrate. Yu-Gi-Oh! It honestly has evolved from what it once was. Obviously, the story of the Pharaoh and things was crazy, sure, but that's just one part of the moving universe out here. The video games being one of the neglected sectors, and the fact that you're seeing these cool cards. I actually wonder what they're going to pull next from the games. It would be really cool to see another ritual archetype come out. If they can do anything like they did with Skull Guardian and actually make another playable archetype, people would lose their minds. And that would be one of the coolest things that you could do. And I guess my other question is what real support is left for the video games? If we have a boss monster in sight here, the end goal to approach this Forbidden Memories style 2 thing, while upgrading all of these former old cards into new things, it leaves a lot. And once again, we get back to that Black Skull Dragon retrain. So I don't want it to be a memento. I really don't. I would love to just see an upgrade of Summon Skull and Red Eyes, and maybe, we could toss it into Yugi's deck. We did just get that Archfiend support card for the Shining Sarcophagus deck. So it is entirely possible we could see a Red Eyes for the Shining Sarcophagus deck and a homage to that, or they just dedicate it to Memento. But either way, I kind of am digging the idea of where this game is going. All right, if we're wrapping up with the video games for the 25 years and then we shift on into the original stories for 30, it's a shame that I don't see Zork anywhere on the horizon here, which I'm still telling you, I don't know why Zork doesn't exist as a card yet. It literally is the embodiment of darkness. There is so much you could do. If Herakti exists, Zork should exist too. They were both existing in the anime, but that's where we're at the moment, I suppose. So what do you guys think about the era of possible video game cards for the game? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.